Here's the improved script with simplified vocabulary, better engagement, and no timestamps or subheadings. On a cold day in early March 1944, a bomber called Hell's Fury flew deep into German territory, 23,000 feet above the ground. Staff Sergeant Michael Donovan sat in the tail gun position, watching 12 German fighters line up to attack. Everything he'd been taught said to stay in position and shoot defensively. His training told him to save bullets. Common sense told him to stay alive. But Donovan had different plans. In the next 4 minutes, 12 German planes fell from the sky. Not a single American died, and every bomber-gunner in the 8th Air Force learned a new word that day: aggression. This is how one-tail gunner's wild strategy changed the rules of air combat forever. How panic turned into tactics, and how the most dangerous spot on a bomber became the deadliest weapon in the air. Michael Donovan came from South Boston, where staying alive meant throwing the first punch. His dad hauled cargo at the docks. His older brother boxed in tournaments. Mike figured out early that hesitation gets you killed. Action keeps your heart beating. By 17, he'd been in 32 street fights and lost only 4. He'd started too slow in those ones. When Pearl Harbor was attacked, Donovan joined the Army Air Forces right away. They wanted him working on the ground. He pushed for gunnery school instead. His instructor said he was too wild, too reckless, too willing to put himself in danger just to fire back. Donovan's answer became famous at that school: dead gunners can't shoot, living ones can. He finished 3rd in his class, not because his aim was perfect, but because he was faster than anyone else. His trick was basic. He didn't wait for enemy planes to enter his zone. He hunted them down before they got close. In March 1944, Donovan joined the 390th Bombardment Group in England. His bomber, Hell's Fury, already had a bad reputation. 3 missions, 2 horrible encounters with German fighters. The previous tail gunner, a sergeant named Eddie Morrison, made it out alive but asked for a transfer immediately. He told the crew chief that the position was cursed and the next guy would die there. Donovan volunteered right away. The pilot, Captain James Whitmore, interviewed him face-to-face. "You know the numbers?" Whitmore asked. "Tail gunners have the worst death rate. 38% don't make it through their tour." "Then I've got 62% odds," Donovan said. "I'll take those chances." "Why?" Whitmore pressed. "Because I don't wait for them to shoot me. I shoot first." Whitmore stared at him hard, then nodded. "You're completely insane. You'll fit right in." Donovan's first mission came on March 2, 1944. Target, a factory that made ball bearings. He shot down 1 German plane and damaged 2 more, but what caught everyone's attention wasn't his kills. It was his approach. Normal tail gunner tactics meant defensive shooting. Wait for fighters to commit to their attack, fire when they got close enough, save ammunition, protect the plane. Donovan did everything backward. He fired at fighters while they were still forming up, forcing them to break apart early, wasting bullets on targets far away. His thinking was straightforward. 1 burst at 800 yards costs 20 rounds. 1 fighter breaking off saves 10,000 pounds of aircraft and 9 lives. The math checked out. His second mission came 2 days later. This time, Donovan tried something new. When German planes started their attack from behind and above, he didn't track the lead fighter. He aimed at the second one, the wingman. The one not expecting return fire yet. The one flying predictable patterns to stay in formation. The wingman blew apart. The lead fighter, suddenly alone, broke off immediately. The whole attack fell to pieces. Donovan's crew chief counted his ammunition after they landed. "You fired 1,600 rounds," he said. "Standard load is 2,000. You used 80% of your ammo on 1 mission. And we didn't get hit," Donovan replied. "I'll take that deal every time." But Donovan wasn't happy yet. He'd stopped attacks. He'd broken up formations, but he hadn't maxed out his impact. That night in the barracks, he studied how German fighters worked, how they came in where they positioned themselves, what they expected to happen. German fighters hit bombers in coordinated waves. Standard setup, 4 to 6 fighters in formation coming from behind and above. The lead fighter drew defensive fire. The wingman took advantage while the gunner focused on the main threat. Standard American response: track the biggest threat, shoot when you're sure you'll hit, save ammo for multiple attacks. Donovan saw the problem. American gunners reacted. Germans controlled everything. The attacker had all the power. Every defensive manual assumed the enemy chose when things happened. What if you flipped it? What if you attacked first? What if you forced the enemy to react to you? March 6, 1944. Morning briefing before the mission. Target, an aircraft factory, 800 bombers, 2,500 German fighters expected. Intelligence predicted heavy losses. Whitmore gathered his crew. This one's going to be brutal. Stay sharp. Stay alive. Donovan raised his hand. Permission to try something different, sir. Like what? Aggressive fire. I want to hit fighters before they commit to their runs. Make them defend before they attack. Whitmore frowned. That burns through ammunition fast. You'll be empty before the real fight starts. Or I'll stop the real fight from happening, Donovan said. Sir, we've been playing defense for 2 years. How's that working out? 38% tail gunner death rate. Maybe it's time we stopped waiting to get shot. The pilot thought about it, then nodded. You've got one mission to prove it. If we get shredded, you're off the gun. Deal. They took off just before 7 in the morning. Formation assembly over England. Climbed to altitude, crossed the channel. Entered German territory around 8:30. The routine felt almost mechanical until the call came just after 9. Fighters behind us, 12 of them. Donovan swiveled his twin 50 caliber guns. 12 German planes 2,000 yards out, forming up for a coordinated attack. Standard response, wait until they commit, then hit the lead fighter. Donovan did neither. He opened fire immediately at 2,000 yards, maximum range, low chance of hitting anything. The tracers curved through empty sky, most missed by hundreds of feet, but the effect was instant. The German formation scattered. Lead fighter broke right. Wingmen hesitated. The attack pattern fell apart before it even started. Donovan stopped firing. Whitmore's voice crackled over the radio. You're wasting ammunition. No, sir, watch what happens next. The German fighters pulled back together, but now they came in cautiously. Not the aggressive diving attack, but careful and probing. The power had shifted. Donovan tracked the new lead fighter, waited until 1,500 yards, then opened fire again. Short, controlled bursts, not trying to hit them, trying to scare them. It worked. The formation broke again. But one German plane, the wingman on the left, kept coming, aggressive, experienced. Donovan recognized the type, veteran pilot who wouldn't be scared. He'd need different tactics. Donovan let the fighter get closer. 1,400 yards, 1,300, 1,200. The range where most gunners would start shooting for real. Donovan waited. The German closed more, 1,100 yards, 1,000. Now the fighter filled his sights perfectly. Donovan fired, not a burst, a full barrage, 200 rounds in 3 seconds. The concentration of fire was massive. The German plane tried to break away but flew straight into the stream of bullets. The engine exploded. The aircraft broke into pieces. Debris tumbled toward the earth. Good kill, the radio operator's voice announced. Donovan just got one, but Donovan wasn't celebrating. He was already tracking the next target. The remaining 11 fighters had regrouped. Now they knew the tail position was lethal. They'd change tactics, come from different angles, split his focus. Standard counter to aggressive defense. Donovan expected this. He'd planned for it. When the fighters split into 2 groups, 6 attacking from straight behind, 5 from the side, he didn't try to hit both. He focused everything on the straight behind group. Ignored the side threat completely. Waist gunner, you've got the side, Donovan called. I'm holding the rear. The waist gunners opened fire on the side group. Donovan stayed focused on his area. 6 fighters diving toward them. He picked the lead aircraft, fired, hit. The fighter exploded. The other 5 broke formation briefly. Donovan immediately shifted to the new lead fighter. Fired again. Another hit. Another explosion. In 30 seconds, 3 German planes fell. The remaining 9 fighters broke off completely, not pulling back to reposition. Full retreat, running from a single tail gun. The formation kept flying. Donovan reloaded and checked his ammunition. He'd burned through 1,200 rounds, 800 left, enough for one more big fight or 2 small ones. The question was whether the Germans would come back. They did 15 minutes later, this time 18 fighters, a full squadron. They'd seen what happened to the first group. They were ready. They attacked from every angle at once. Behind, sides, everywhere. Massive firepower from all directions. Standard response, defensive fire, try to cover all angles, divide your attention, survive through dodging and luck. Donovan chose violence instead. He ignored the attacks from the sides. Let the waist and ball gunners handle those. He focused everything on the straight behind attack. 6 German planes dove straight at Hell's Fury's tail. Donovan didn't flinch, didn't try to dodge. He locked his guns on the lead fighter and opened fire at 1,200 yards, maximum range for his twin 50s. The closing speed between bomber and fighter was 400 knots. That gave him exactly 7 seconds before the German reached firing position. Donovan used all 7. He walked his tracers directly into the lead plane's flight path. The fighter couldn't dodge without breaking formation. The pilot held course, fatal mistake. At 800 yards, Donovan's rounds found metal. The cockpit shattered. The plane rolled upside down and fell. 5 left, now 400 yards between them and Hell's Fury, 3 seconds to impact. Donovan shifted to the next fighter, no time to track properly, pure instinct. He fired where the target would be in 2 seconds, not where it was, where physics said it had to go. The second German plane flew directly into the stream of bullets, catastrophic damage to the engine. The fighter exploded in a ball of orange flame, debris scattered everywhere. The 3 remaining fighters broke formation immediately, not repositioning for another pass. Full defensive moves, running from a single gun position. Jesus Christ, Whitmore's voice crackled over the radio. Donovan just got 2 more in 3 seconds, but Donovan wasn't celebrating. He was reloading. His last ammunition belt, 400 rounds left, and the mission was only half over. They still had to reach the target, drop bombs, and fly home through the same fighter-filled airspace. The formation kept going toward the target. German fighters regrouped at a distance. 12 aircraft left from the original 18. They'd learned their lesson. Direct attacks from behind cost too much. They needed different tactics. What happened next surprised everyone. The German fighters didn't attack. They followed the bomber formation, stayed just outside gun range, waited. Whitmore recognized the pattern immediately. They're calling for backup. We're about to get hit by everything they have. He was right. 10 minutes later, radar picked up new contacts. 36 fighters, a full group. Combined with the 12 already following them, Hell's Fury faced 48 enemy fighters against 1 bomber's defensive guns. Standard procedure in this situation: radio for fighter escort, tighten formation with nearby bombers, maximize overlapping defensive fire, survive through teamwork. But Hell's Fury had drifted from formation during the earlier fights. The nearest friendly bomber was 3 miles away. No escort fighters in range. They were alone. Donovan checked his ammunition. 380 rounds against 48 fighters. The math didn't work unless he changed the rules. Captain Donovan called over the radio, permission to try something. What? Attack, silence. Then Whitmore's voice, carefully controlled, explain. Those fighters are forming up for a massive assault. Give them 2 minutes and they'll hit us from every angle at once. We can't defend against that, but we can mess it up. If I hit them while they're still organizing, I can force them to scatter before they're ready. You'll be out of ammo in 30 seconds. Then I better make them count, Donovan said. Sir, defensive tactics don't work when you're outnumbered 20-1. Our only shot is aggressive action while they're still weak. Whitmore thought for 3 seconds, then made his call. Do it. If you get us killed, I'm writing your family a very angry letter. Donovan didn't waste time responding. The German formation was 2,000 yards out, still organizing. Lead elements setting up attack angles, trailing elements moving into support positions. Perfect weakness. Donovan opened fire, not short controlled bursts, not warning shots. Maximum sustained attack. He poured 200 rounds into the formation center in 8 seconds, not targeting specific aircraft. Targeting the space where coordination happened, where fighters keep formation discipline. The effect was immediate and devastating. Tracers crossed through the formation's core. 1 German plane caught fire and spiraled down. 2 others collided trying to dodge. The entire formation broke into chaos. 48 fighters scattered in every direction. No coordination, no attack plan, just individual aircraft trying to survive. Holy, Whitmore didn't finish. He didn't need to. Everyone saw it. 1 tail gunner with a suicide attack run had just broken up the biggest fighter assault any of them had ever seen, but Donovan knew the truth. He'd bought them time, maybe 2 minutes, maybe less. The Germans would regroup. They'd be angry now, aggressive. The next attack would come fast and brutal, and he had 180 rounds left. The German fighters regrouped faster than expected. 90 seconds. This time they didn't bother with coordinated tactics. They swarmed. 12 fighters dove from straight behind at the same time. No formation, no strategy, just overwhelming violence. Donovan picked his targets carefully, not the closest fighters, not the most aggressive ones. He targeted the middle of the swarm, the psychological center where the pack's courage came from. He fired 30-round bursts into 3 consecutive aircraft. All 3 took hits. 1 exploded, 2 broke off trailing smoke. The remaining 9 fighters kept coming, now within 400 yards. Cannon fire lit up the sky. 20-millimeter rounds streaked past Hell's Fury's tail section. Some connected, metal screamed. The plane shuddered, but Donovan kept firing. Target burst, mechanical precision. No fear, no hesitation. Another German plane fell, then another. 5 left, 200 yards, point-blank range. Donovan could see the pilots' faces. Young men, determined, professional. He shot them anyway. 2 more fighters exploded. 3 left. 100 yards, the survivors broke off. Too close now. Risk of collision exceeded the reward of the kill. Donovan tracked 1 last fighter, squeezed the trigger, nothing. The guns were dry. He'd fired everything. 180 rounds in 45 seconds. 6 fighters destroyed in that fight alone. But now he was defenseless. "I'm out," Donovan called over the radio. "Dry on all guns. Copy," Whitmore responded. "Damage report. Anyone hit?" The crew checked in. Ball turret took minor damage. Rudder showed stress fractures, but everyone was alive, all systems working. Hell's Fury could still fly, could still fight, just without her tail guns. The German fighters knew it. They regrouped one final time. 27 aircraft left from the original 48. They'd lost 21 fighters to a single bomber, to a single gun position. The loss rate was catastrophic, unsustainable, but they had one advantage now. The tail position was empty. They attacked from directly behind and low. The one angle Donovan's empty guns couldn't cover. Standard tactic when you know the enemy is helpless. They came in tight formation, slow, methodical, no wasted shots. This was execution. Donovan watched them approach. 400 yards, 300, 200. He had no ammunition, no way to defend, but he had one weapon left, psychology. He moved his guns to track the lead fighter, followed it precisely, kept perfect targeting discipline, as if his weapons were loaded, as if he could fire any second. The lead German pilot saw the twin 50s tracking him, saw the barrels lined up perfectly with his cockpit. He broke formation. Immediate hard right turn. Pure instinct beating knowledge. The guns might be empty, but the threat response was hardwired. When someone aims at you, you dodge. The rest of the formation followed their leader. They broke the attack pattern, not because Donovan could shoot them, because they believed he could. The psychological impact of his earlier kills created a ghost threat. Empty guns became as deadly as loaded ones through reputation alone. "They're breaking off," the ball turret gunner's voice cracked with relief. "They're actually breaking off." And they were. The German formation scattered, didn't regroup for another try. They'd lost 21 aircraft to this single bomber. The cost was too high. They pulled back completely, flew back toward their bases, left Hell's Fury alone in hostile territory with empty tail guns. The bomber formation kept going to the target, dropped their bombs, destroyed the aircraft factory, flew home through 3 more fighter contacts. But none engaged Hell's Fury. Word had spread through German radio. One bomber with a crazy tail gunner had single-handedly destroyed 21 fighters. The warning was clear. Avoid that aircraft. Too dangerous, too costly. Hell's Fury landed back at base just before 5 in the afternoon, 9 hours after takeoff. Donovan climbed out of his tail position. His hands were steady, no shakes, no visible stress. The ground crew swarmed the plane, counting damage. 47 bullet holes, 13 cannon strikes, destroyed hydraulic line, cracked rudder, but it flew. It survived. The crew chief examined the tail gun position and checked the ammunition boxes. All empty, every round fired. He found Donovan sitting on the runway smoking a cigarette. "You used everything," the crew chief said. 2,000 rounds. You fired every bullet we loaded. Had to, Donovan replied. Didn't have enough to waste any. "How many did he get?" Whitmore asked. The crew chief checked his notes, counts from other crew members, radio intercepts from German communications. Visual confirmations from escort fighters who'd finally caught up near the target. 12 confirmed kills, 4 probables, 3 damaged. Whitmore looked at Donovan. "You destroyed 12 fighters in one mission. 19 if you count probables and damaged," the crew chief added, "in 4 minutes of sustained combat." The news spread through the bomber group before sunset. By morning, every tail gunner at base wanted to know Donovan's tactics. By afternoon, pilots from other groups were asking for briefings. By evening, 8th Air Force headquarters sent people to interview him. Major General Frederick Anderson, commanding officer of 8th Bomber Command, showed up personally. He found Donovan in the barracks cleaning his guns. Standard maintenance, nothing special. Anderson introduced himself. Donovan stood at attention. "At ease, Sergeant. I'm here to understand what you did yesterday." Donovan explained his thinking. Aggressive fire, psychological fear, attacking during the enemy's formation phase, using the moment of weakness before coordination locked in. Anderson listened without interrupting. When Donovan finished, the general asked one question. "Can you teach this to the right men? Not everyone's got the mindset," Donovan said. "You need gunners who think like fighters, who see chances instead of threats, who'd rather attack than defend. Find them," Anderson ordered. "I'm setting up a special training program. You'll create the course, pick candidates, change tail gunner tactics across the entire 8th Air Force. Starting now, you're moving to training command." Donovan hesitated. "Sir, I'd rather stay with my crew. Your crew doesn't need you anymore," Anderson said bluntly. "They're alive because of what you did. Other crews are dying because their gunners don't know what you know. Which matters more, 9 men or 9,000? The answer was obvious. Donovan accepted the assignment. He spent the next month creating what became known as the Donovan Doctrine, aggressive tail gunnery. The main ideas were simple but revolutionary. First rule, take control. Don't wait for fighters to attack. Hit them during their formation phase. Force them to respond to your actions instead of doing their plan. Second rule, psychological warfare. Your first burst doesn't need to destroy the target. It needs to scare the formation, make them careful, hesitant, second-guessing their approach. Third rule, focus fire. When outnumbered, don't split attention. Put all firepower on the most dangerous area. Trust other gun positions to handle side threats. Fourth rule, ammunition savings through aggression. 30 rounds forcing 12 fighters to scatter is more efficient than 300 rounds shooting at scattered targets. Prevention costs less than reaction. Fifth rule, accept risk. Tail gunner death rates were high under defensive tactics anyway. Aggressive tactics increased exposure but decreased mission losses. Individual risk versus group survival. The mission mattered more than the man. The Donovan Doctrine faced immediate pushback. Traditional gunners called it reckless. Command officers worried about wasted ammunition. Conservative instructors labeled it suicide. But the numbers didn't lie. In March 1944, before Donovan's tactics spread, tail gunner death rates in the 8th Air Force averaged 38%. By June 1944, after widespread use of aggressive fire doctrine, the rate dropped to 23%. Same missions, same enemy, different tactics, 15% reduction in deaths. But death reduction wasn't the only measure. Fighter engagement numbers told the real story. In March 1944, German fighters completed 52% of their planned attack runs against bomber formations. By June, completion rate dropped to 27%. Aggressive tail gunner fire disrupted German fighter coordination so well that more than half of all planned attacks aborted before reaching firing position. The psychological impact went beyond individual missions. German fighter pilots started avoiding bombers known to use aggressive gunners. Radio intercepts caught German leaders warning pilots away from specific American formations. The mere reputation of aggressive defense created tactical advantage. Donovan trained 300 tail gunners between March and August 1944. Each got 2 weeks of intensive instruction. Live fire exercises, fake fighter attacks, mental conditioning. The program focused on mental preparation as much as technical skill. Donovan's favorite saying became official teaching. Fear happens when you react. Confidence happens when you act first. But not every candidate made it. The aggressive doctrine needed specific personality traits: quick decisions under pressure, comfort with risk, ability to stay focused during chaos. Roughly 30% of candidates washed out, couldn't beat defensive instincts, couldn't accept the needed aggression, couldn't handle the risk math. Those who succeeded became legends. By war's end, graduates of Donovan's program made up 43% of all tail gunner kills in Europe. They created techniques Donovan never taught. Adaptations, improvements. The doctrine grew beyond its creator. One graduate destroyed 16 fighters in his first 4 missions. Another survived 27 missions without taking serious damage to his gun position. The aggressive doctrine didn't just boost kills, it boosted survival rates through fear. German pilots learned to spot aggressive gunners. The signs were consistent. Early opening fire at extreme range, sustained attack instead of saved bursts, tracers walking through formation centers. When German pilots saw these signs, they broke off attacks immediately. The cost of fighting aggressive defenders beat the value of bomber kills. By summer 1944, German Air Force training manuals included sections on American aggressive gunner tactics. The recommended response was simple: avoid them, find easier targets, don't fight bombers with active aggressive defense. The mind game had flipped. Now German fighters feared American gunners instead of the other way around. Donovan's personal combat career ended with that March 6th mission. He never flew another combat mission, spent the rest of the war training others, but his influence reached far beyond his 12 confirmed kills. Careful estimates say the Donovan Doctrine saved 300 American bombers and 3,000 airmen. The compound effect of stopping successful German attacks rippled through the entire air campaign. After the war, military historians studied Donovan's tactics. The idea of aggressive defense got built into aerial combat doctrine for multiple nations. Soviet Union, Britain, even Germany in post-war analysis admitted it worked. The concept spread beyond bombers, fighter escorts, ground attack aircraft, naval planes. Wherever defensive positions existed, Donovan's ideas applied. But Donovan himself went back to Boston, worked construction, never talked about the war. When reporters tracked him down in the 1960s, he refused interviews. "I did what needed doing," he said. "So did 300 other gunners. They're the real story." One of those gunners disagreed. In a 1972 interview, he explained Donovan's impact. "Before him, we thought survival meant hiding, making ourselves small targets, saving resources. Mike taught us survival means making the enemy scared to attack you. Sounds simple, changes everything." The numbers proved his point. 8th Air Force did detailed analysis in 1945. They compared bomber losses before and after aggressive gunner doctrine. March through May 1944, average losses of 14 bombers per 1,000 missions. June through August 1944, average losses of 8 bombers per 1,000 missions. Same targets, same German defenses, 43% reduction in losses. The difference, gunners who shot first. German records captured after the war showed the enemy view. German Air Force reports from summer 1944 kept mentioning American gunner aggression. One report from June 1944 said American tail gunners have picked up new tactics. They hit formations during approach phase with constant fire. Effect is mental disruption of attack coordination. Recommendation: avoid direct rear approaches. Use high-angle diving attacks from different positions. The recommendation proved hard to do. High-angle diving attacks needed different training, different coordination, different risk thinking. Many German pilots couldn't adapt. Those who tried anyway ran into aggressive waist gunners using similar tactics. The Donovan doctrine had spread to every defensive position on American bombers. By August 1944, German fighter success against American bombers had dropped by 63% compared to January 1944 levels. Multiple factors helped. Better fighter escorts, improved bomber formation tactics, hitting German oil production. But internal German Air Force analysis blamed 28% of the drop specifically on American aggressive gunner tactics. Donovan never knew these numbers, never saw the German analysis, never learned the full reach of his influence. He died in 1998 at age 76. The Boston newspaper's death notice mentioned his medal, his 16 years working construction, his wife Margaret, and 3 children. One paragraph mentioned his war service. Tail gunner, 8th Air Force, created new tactics. That paragraph didn't mention 12 kills in 4 minutes. Didn't mention 300 gunners trained. Didn't mention 3,000 lives saved. Didn't mention how one South Boston street fighter changed aerial combat doctrine for every nation that studied his methods. His funeral drew 17 people, mostly family, 2 war buddies, no military honor guard, no gun salute, just a quiet service at the cemetery. The priest doing the service didn't know about March 6, 1944. Didn't know about the Donovan doctrine. Didn't know he was burying a man who'd changed the course of aerial warfare. But the other tail gunners knew. Every veteran of aggressive gunner training knew. They gathered informally the night before at a bar in South Boston. Raised glasses, told stories, remembered the man who taught them to shoot first and scare the hell out of anyone who wanted them dead. One of them, now 74, gave the toast. Mike Donovan never thought he was special, just a guy doing his job. But his job saved 3,000 of us. Every bomber that made it home because German fighters broke off their attack. Every gunner who survived his tour because he learned to be aggressive instead of defensive. Every mission that worked because the enemy was too scared to fight. That's Mike's legacy. Not 12 kills, 12,000 lives. The Donovan doctrine remains standard teaching in modern aerial combat training. Fighter pilots learn aggressive engagement ideas. Gunners on transport aircraft study psychological fear tactics. Even modern missile defense systems use the concept of early engagement to mess up enemy coordination. March 6, 1944 lasted 4 minutes. One tail gunner, 12 enemy fighters, the moment when defense became offense, when reaction became action, when one South Boston street fighter proved that survival doesn't come from hiding, it comes from making your enemy too scared to fight. Michael Donovan fired 2,000 rounds, destroyed 12 aircraft, saved 3,000 lives, changed warfare forever. Not because he was special, because he refused to wait for death to come find him. He went hunting first. If this story moved you, please like and subscribe. Your support helps us keep these histories alive. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We honor the courage of these men by remembering their names. Thank you for keeping their stories alive. Retry Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses. Sonnet 4.5.